So it's come to my attention that a lot of people in 2026 do not know how to trade mog. And you need to learn this skill if you are going to succeed within trading, if you're going to be a beast. So what I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to go through everything you need to know to become an absolute demon on these charts. And then by the end of the video, you're going to know exactly how to trade the strategy that I trade that took me from blowing funded accounts over and over again to getting a nice payout, passing many funded accounts. I can't even count how many funded accounts I've passed now. Pop them up on the screen. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So we're going to go through the charts. We're going to go through exactly what I'm looking for on the full mech variation of the one of three models I trade. So it's pretty much going to be a trade recap on steroids. And it's going to teach you everything. It's going to teach you how to mog in trading. So we are now on the charting Tinos. Now, one thing you're going to need, which is critical for this method, if you want to be trading more again in 2026, you need this. And I'm not one of them guys that says you need a million indicators, but you need this one. If you don't have this indicator, you're cooked. You will not be able to trade this strategy. So what you want to do is come into the indicator section here and just search in frac. And then it should come up. You've got fractals by Rachel T. You want to plug this into your chart. Then once it's plugged up, you should have these triangles over the screen. Now, we really want to get our session times locked in. So I actually have a little indicator that I made for myself and the boys within my one-to-one for this. But for you fellas, all you're going to have to do is mark out midnight, 8 a.m. and 1300. Now, from 8 a.m. to midnight, that's going to be the Asia session. And then after that, until 1300, it's going to be the London session. Then after that, it's going to be New York. So what you're going to want to do as well, make sure you've got your time zone set to London or it's going to be shagged. It's just not going to work. And what we're going to do now is we're going to break down exactly what I'm looking for. Now, finding bias gets really overcomplicated online. Now, this is the easiest way to find bias. Look, this is not how I find bias on all of my models. This is how I find bias on the full mech edition of the model. So what you're going to want to do is come onto the 4-hour chart. And now you have these fractals activated. You can literally trace them back. So I'm just like following them back. And then you just find the most recent candle push through, breaker structure. So that's going to be here. And what I mean by that is if we draw a line on this fractal here, we can see that this candle pushes through and then closes below. Now, if you don't understand this, no worries. We got a bootcamp series on my channel. If you click on my channel now and go into Big Nez Bootcamp, this will explain all the basics in much more in depth than this video. So now we've got our fractal breaker structure to the downside on the 4-hour chart here. Guess what? I'm going to be looking for sells. That is how easy it is. That is how easy this model is. It's straight mechanical biz. So we're going to go back onto the 5-minute chart now. And we are going to wait for the London session to open. Now, 8 a.m. London session has opened. So what we're going to do is we are going to, as soon as the London session opens at 8 o'clock on the fucking dot, what we're going to do is this exact thing here. We are going to mark out the highest point of the Asian session. Why are we doing that? So we are looking for a sell position. So we want to buy after the highs of the previous session have been swept. That's going to be step one. That's going to be our first confluence. So what we're going to do is we're going to mark out this point here. And that is going to be our Asian high. So what we're going to do is we're just going to wait and boom, it gets insta-tapped. So once it's been insta-tapped, we are now going to get out our second tool on the chart. Now remember, if you don't understand anything in this video, you can go through the bootcamp and watch all of that shizzle. So what we're going to do is we're going to get the fib tool and then we're going to take it from the lowest point of both sessions. So for example, yeah, we come all the way down here before we swept, yeah, then we just like rip up here. So we would take the fib tool from down here because that's lower than the Asian session. But in this case, it's nice and simple. We just look at the lowest point in Asia here, and then we drag the fib up to our first bearish candle after the sweep. So I've actually done it a bit preemptively here, like a bit of a chump. So what we're going to do is we're actually just going to wait, and then boom, we actually get our first bearish candle here. So then now all we're going to do is we're literally just going to wait until we get tapped back in to that line, which happens here. So what this line is called the fake out zone. Now, all you got to do to get it is copy these settings on the fib, and then the yellow line will be your fake out line. So now we have had our fake out tap. So I might have speed run that a bit because I'm assuming you have a brain. But what we can do if we are a little bit special is we can draw an extra line here so we know that's our fake out line. The price has got to come back and tap this line, and then we are valid for our next confluence. So boom, here we get our fake out. Now, after we've had our fake out, we are literally just looking for another one of them fractal breaker structures we had on the 4 hour. Now, once we get this fractal breaker structure, we are going to be in there like swimwear. So right here, this shit does not count. This shit does not count because this is not the candle body closing below our breaker structure line whatsoever. It's literally on it. It needs to be the candle body closing through, always. So we have this next candle, boom, it comes back up. Then boom, it comes back down and smashes through the line that we've drawn, the break of structure line. So after that, we have had our final bit of confirmation we need in the market to think, you know what, fuck it, I am going to take a position. So what we're going to do now is we're going to get that exact same Fibonacci tool, and then we are just going to draw it from the highest to the lowest point for a sell. If we're looking for a buy, we're drawing it from the lowest to the highest. Now, once we've drawn our Fibonacci tool, you'll notice I've got two blue lines on here, the 0.618 and the 1.025. Now, these two lines are going to be for two different things. The 618 is where we're going to enter our position, and then the 1.025 is where we're going to put our stop loss. Now, once we've put our position on the chart here, you can do this on TradingView or you can do this in your execution platform. What we're going to do is we're going to look at this risk to reward ratio here, and we're going to want to drag this down until it gets to 3R. And you want to make sure this is absolutely bang on. You do not want to be having it so it's not accurate. So we're going to zoom in here. I'm going to make sure we've got this absolutely good and proper, which we have. This is the closest we can get it here on AUD USD. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to wait and hopefully get tagged into the trade. I'm not sure if we're going to get tagged in or if we're going to have to extend the fib. So then, boom, we have now been tagged into a trading position. Now, all we're going to do now is either our phone or computer, whatever we're trading on, we're just going to throw it away. We're going to throw it out the fucking window. We do not want to look at it. We just want to set our take profit down here at that 1 to 3 target, our take profit target down here. So our limit orders would already be set. We'd have our take profit down here, and then we'd have our stop loss up here. And we are not going to look at the chart. We're just going to let this shit run. And then, boom, we managed to secure 3R to the dome. Now, what on earth is R? All R is what you risked. So, for example, say I was on a 10K account here and I was risking 1%, which is £100, dollars, whatever the 10K account is. I would have risked one here, $100, and then I would have made 3. Yeah, so I would have made $300 in this example. Now, you might be thinking, fuck me, mate, this is not how easy trading should be. Well, it fucking is. This is how easy trading is. And if you're not trade mogging in 2026, you are kind of